In the dense forests of Zululand, South Africa, there was a man whom the local people affectionately called the Elephant Whisperer. His name was Lawrence Anthony, a conservationist who dedicated his life to protecting animals hunted by humans. The story began in the early 2000s when Lawrence received an urgent call from the South African Wildlife Conservation Bureau. A wild herd of 8 elephants, including several calves, was under threat of being put down. They had repeatedly broken through fences, destroyed crops, and attacked local people. The authorities believed that the only way to ensure safety was to eliminate the entire herd. But Lawrence could not let that happen. He asked to bring the herd to his private reserve, Thula Thula, a vast land of thousands of hectares that he and his wife had established to protect wildlife. When the elephants arrived, Lawrence quickly realized they were anything but gentle. They were rebellious, angry, and terrified. The matriarch, a large female named Nana, constantly tried to break the fence, attempting to lead her herd to escape. On one occasion, they nearly destroyed the electric fence, and Lawrence knew that if they got out, they would be shot immediately. With no other choice, he decided to do something few would dare to consider. He stayed with them. Lawrence set up a tent near the elephant enclosure, sleeping outdoors, just a few dozen meters from the herd. He spoke to them every day, his voice steady and warm, as if they could understand. He brought them fruit, built a small fire at night, and waited patiently. Many days passed with no sign of change. But then one morning, just as the sun rose, Nana approached the fence. Lawrence stood perfectly still. The giant elephant looked at him for a long time, then gently extended her trunk through the fence and touched his shoulder. It was the first time she had allowed a human to be so close. From that moment, something miraculous began. Gradually, Nana and the entire herd realized that Lawrence was not an enemy. He was their protector. They began to trust him, even following him whenever he patrolled the reserve. There were days when Lawrence would sit for hours just watching them bathe in the river or listening to their calls echoing through the forest, a sound that was both wild and full of life. Lawrence once said, "When you look into an elephant's eye, you see someone looking back at you. Not the look of an animal, but of a soul." He didn't just save that herd. He also campaigned against poaching, saved rhinos, wild buffalo, and many other species. He became a symbol of love for nature, a man whom even animals called a friend. Then in 2012, Lawrence Anthony passed away from a heart attack. He died peacefully in his home in the middle of the reserve he had once called a paradise of life. And then something happened that brought the world to tears. 2 days after his death, the elephant herd he had saved suddenly appeared at the gate of his house. No one had called them, no one had led them. They had traveled over 20 kilometers through the dense jungle as if they knew their friend had departed. The entire herd stood silently around Lawrence's house for 2 days. They made no sounds, no roars. They just stood there in silence, occasionally raising their trunks gently as if to say goodbye. Then they turned and slowly walked away, disappearing back into the deep forest. Since then, every year on the anniversary of Lawrence's death, the elephants returned to Thula Thula, quietly, solemnly, like a ritual of a friendship that transcends species. Scientists could not explain how they knew he had passed away, but those who love nature believe it was their hearts. Hearts full of gratitude and love, something that humans sometimes forget animals also possess. And the elephants responded to him in that very language, the language of love, gratitude, and a memory that never fades. The story of Lawrence Anthony reminds us that every creature on this earth has feelings, knows how to love, and knows how to be grateful. When humans treat nature with kindness, nature will respond with a sacred affection, something that no words can truly describe.